You're watching Bengals Breakdown, your home for everything Cincinnati Bengals. Let's dive right in. Today, we're asking a big question. Did the Bengals make a critical mistake in the 2025 NFL Draft? And no, we're not talking about the name you're probably thinking, not Shamar Stewart. This is about a different pick, one made later in the draft, but it could have a direct impact on Cincinnati's defense this season. Before we break it all down, a quick reminder. If you're a real Bengals fan and want all the latest news first, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. All right, let's get into it. So, let's talk Barrett Carter. Now look, this isn't a shot at Carter as a player. The guy's got talent. That's not in question. What is in question is who the Bengals could have had instead. There was another name, someone I personally highlighted in multiple mock drafts leading up to April. A player who was available, but Cincinnati chose to pass. And that decision? It might come back to haunt them. Stick around, because we're diving into who that player was, why he may have been the better fit, and how this one choice could shake up the Bengals' defensive identity moving forward. When the fourth round came around, it felt like the Bengals were in the perfect position to steal a gem. But instead, they watched him slip through their fingers. That player? Lathan Ransom, the former Ohio State safety. He was right there, a natural fit for what Cincinnati needed in the secondary. And with Al Golden's fingerprints all over this draft, it made even more sense. Ransom's aggressive style and versatility could have plugged a massive hole on this Bengals defense. Safety. Let's not sugarcoat it. Safety play last year was a liability. The Bengals were exposed deep, often, and in big moments. They brought in Geno Stone. And yes, we'll talk about him. But let's be honest. Neither Stone nor Jordan Battle lived up to what this team needs on the back end. Jordan Battle showed some growth late in the year. That's promising. But still, the safety unit as a whole felt thin, untested, and lacking that game-changer presence. So when Ransom was sitting right there, and the Bengals passed, that raised eyebrows. The front office clearly thinks this group is good enough. They restructured Geno Stone's deal, which gives him another shot, though that doesn't make his roster spot untouchable. But it sure feels like Cincinnati is banking on internal improvement, not external upgrades. And here's where it gets even more telling. Not a single drafted safety. No day one, day two, or even late day three pick went to that room. One undrafted guy. Sure, but no real investment. Why? Simple. Linebacker was the priority. And that's where Al Golden's influence really shows. He wanted another piece at linebacker, and Barrett Carter became his guy. That room looks completely different now. Outside of Logan Wilson, nearly everything has changed. Expect Mumu bin Wahad to push for a role, but Carter is clearly being groomed as a major piece of this rebuild. Did Golden get his way? Absolutely. Did it come at the cost of addressing safety again? Time will tell. But if this defense stumbles the way it did last season, especially in the deep third, this decision to pass on Lathan Ransom might be one the Bengals deeply regret. Al Golden knew exactly what he wanted, and he got it. Another linebacker. And the Bengals front office, from Zach Taylor to Duke Tobin, backed that vision without hesitation. But let's circle back to why they may have passed on Lathan Ransom, because this wasn't just about preference. Injury history may have played a big role. Ransom's leg injury in the 2021 Rose Bowl, a brutal moment against Utah, left a mark. And just last season, he dealt with a foot injury that cost him time late in the year. That kind of medical track record can make any GM think twice. Still, it's hard to ignore what he did on the field when healthy. Late in his Ohio State career, Ransom looked like a player built for the next level. He played fast, physical, and intelligent. He wasn't just trying to improve his draft stock. He was chasing a championship with his team. And the tape shows it. Even more telling, early reports out of Carolina's camp are glowing. He's already getting reps with the first-team defense. Coaches are throwing the playbook at him, and he's responding, not just surviving, but thriving. Ransom doesn't look out of place. He looks like a pro. That's exactly why some Bengals fans are frustrated. They wanted that kind of instant impact player in Cincinnati's secondary, not another wait-and-see project. Yes, Barrett Carter might become a core piece in the linebacker room. Yes, Al Golden has a plan, but if the Bengals were worried about injuries, they might have just let a real difference maker walk, one who's already turning heads before preseason has even kicked off. Let's be real. Carolina's roster has its own problems, so it's not shocking that a rookie like Lathan Ransom is already getting a shot to start. But that doesn't take away from what he's shown so far. The guy is flat out balling. And Bengals fans? They're left wondering, what if? This isn't about tearing down Barrett Carter. He's in stripes now, and the whole fan base is behind him. But it's fair to say this. The decision to pass on Ransom wasn't just bold. It was risky. Ransom checked every box this defense lacked last year. Aggressive tackling, range and coverage, instincts that show up on every snap. Look at the numbers from his rookie campaign in Carolina. 76 tackles, 9 TFLs, 3 pass breakups, 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown. That's production. That's physicality. That's what the Bengals secondary was missing. He's not a corner. Of course, his coverage has limits. But as a downhill enforcer who can still hang with tight ends and slot receivers, he would have brought exactly the edge Cincinnati needed. His tape at Ohio State? Violent, focused, playoff ready. You felt every hit. And here's the part that still stings. He fell right into Cincinnati's lap. It felt like the perfect scenario. A tough, experienced safety, battle-tested in big games, sitting there in round 4. And yet, they passed. At the time, it was frustrating. And right now, it feels even worse. Because nothing's changed since draft weekend. If anything, the gap at safety looks wider. The Bengals may have prioritized linebacker, but Ransom was the kind of player who could have changed this defense fast. Now he's doing that, just not in Cincinnati. Let's be honest. Nobody's doubting Barrett Carter's potential. We've heard it all. Al Golden's backing him. Zach Taylor's excited. The locker room believes he's got the tools. But until we see it on the field, it's just hype. Training camp, preseason, that's where the truth comes out. Because right now, there's no reason for Bengals fans to feel fully settled about this pick. The shadow of Lathan Ransom still lingers, and it will, until Carter shows he's the answer at linebacker. The draft night debate hasn't gone anywhere. The questions haven't gone away. And they won't. Not until production silences them. Now let's turn back to the safety situation, because this is where things get even trickier. Cincinnati is running it back with Geno Stone and Jordan Battle. On paper, that sounds safe. But after watching last season, you can't help but feel uneasy. When Geno Stone first arrived from Baltimore, the expectation was high. He had a breakout season, made plays all over the field, and even gave the Bengals problems while in a Ravens uniform. But once he put on the stripes, the production dipped, and it dipped fast. Credit to Stone, though. He didn't make excuses. He owned it. He even took a pay cut heading into 2025, not because he was forced to, but because he knew he had to be better. And Jordan Battle? Still raw, still growing. He had flashes, especially late in the season, but not enough to calm concerns. The Bengals doubled down on this group. No new additions, no insurance plan, just belief in internal improvement. That's either going to look like a bold move or a brutal miscalculation. Either way, it puts pressure on everyone in that secondary. And if the gamble doesn't pay off, fans will be pointing right back to draft day and wondering why a guy like Lathan Ransom isn't wearing orange and black. Geno Stone has all the tools. Age is on his side. Athleticism is there. And the system fits. But last season, he just didn't bring it. Missed tackles, late reactions, too many big plays given up behind him. And for a safety in this Bengals defense, that's a deal breaker. Still, the coaching staff believes. Zach Taylor believes. Al Golden believes. So Stone gets one more shot, one more chance to prove he can anchor this secondary the way he did in Baltimore. But he won't get endless opportunities. He knows it. Everyone does. Jordan Battle, on the other hand, is the one to watch. The Bengals gave him a bigger role after the Von Bell experiment flopped. And while his start was rocky, he slowly began to settle in. By the end of the season, you saw flashes, instinct, range, some real signs that Battle could grow into something special. Right now, there's more optimism around Battle than Stone, and that's fair. But here's where things get dicey. Depth. Outside of those two, who's really there? DeJohn Anthony? Hybrid role. Unproven. Tyson Anderson? Great on special teams, but hasn't shown he can be more than that. The Bengals are walking a tightrope with this safety group. If things go south again, it's going to be the back end of this defense. Once again, giving up points in bunches. And if the goal is to avoid shootouts in 2025, this group has to step up. Now, as we wrap this up, let's shift back to Barrett Carter. Look, he wasn't the pick many fans expected. He wasn't even the pick many fans wanted. But he's got something real. Leadership. He wore the green dot at Clemson. That means something. That means trust. That means intelligence. That means this guy was the quarterback of a very physical defense and thrived. He's mature. He's vocal. He's respected. That's exactly what the Bengals were looking for after round one. Not just athletes, but grown professionals who could step in and lead from day one. But the expectations? They're different for Carter than they are for Demetrius Knight Jr. Knight is going to be the guy thrown into the fire, the high-ceiling playmaker drafted early to make an immediate impact. Carter? He'll be asked to complement, to support, to grow into the role. Still, this linebacker room is brand new. No Jermaine Pratt. No Akeem Davis-Gaither. Just a few veterans, 2 rookies, and a whole lot of uncertainty. If this rebuild works, great. But if Barrett Carter doesn't live up to the potential, this pick is going to haunt the Bengals. Because there were other options on the board. Options they passed on. Options now making plays elsewhere.